And when I asked Tiffany if she had those when she moved out there, she was not provided a copy of those. And I'm sure that most people that live out there weren't, because that was done in like 1987 by the original people. This year there's more people working from home because of the COVID, so there's a lot of that going on that people aren't aware of, unfortunately. But other than that, there's others working out of their home as well. And I really we're not wanting to drag other people that are having successful businesses out of their home drug into this. Nothing's positive going to come out of that. We're just wanting to take care of people. It's nothing about getting out of paying any kind of taxes or increase traffic. I mean, I have yard sales. Every time I get an opportunity, I have a yard sale. Does that increase the traffic in my neighborhood? Yes. There's a lady behind me that sells baked goods. Do I buy from her? Yes. Are there people there picking up? Yes. There's a guy that barbecues down the road from me. Does he have a lot of traffic? Yes. But you know what? I love that, because I know who to call in this neighborhood when I need something. I know them by name. They're going to know me by name. They're going to know what my usual is. That's part of living in a small town. We all do things that maybe rub someone wrong, but you don't come, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just look the other way. I don't feel that we've been an issue with parking. I've never seen a dump truck or any large vehicle deliver supplies. Actually, my supplies are delivered to another location altogether. I'm the one in charge of picking those up. We're a mobile unit. I go to people's homes and businesses. I draw labs for them. I give injections for them. If they've called and had a FaceTime with her and she's done some kind of medical management, I'm usually the one that does the treatment for them in their home at their own convenience. That's what she prided herself in starting this. It was, she wanted to be able to help the people that had high deductibles, that couldn't afford to go to the ER to get their kids treated on a Saturday night. We will come to you. This was never intended to be this, and not one person has ever come and talked to us prior to the mayor contacting us, letting us know that there had been a formal complaint filed against us. So we had no idea. If someone, and I wanted to go to people's houses at that time and say, has one of the patients done something? Have they parked in your yard? Have they littered in your yard? What have we done? We'll fix it. We want it to be right. This is not what we set out to do. Their email took place. Mr. McVeigh let us know that we were doing everything right. I came up here to the city. I tried to get a permit or whatever we needed to be legal as far as having an office. I was told that we were doing everything that we needed to do. I talked to the safety officer or whoever, and he even offered to come out and look at our area to make sure that we're meeting all the guidelines, fire extinguishers, whatnot. There are more days that we don't have anyone come into the home than there are that we do. And I'm the one that does the scheduling. And usually it's me that's there. Miss Nelson's not even home because it's people coming to get B12 shots or to get labs drawn. And I try to go and do what I can, but sometimes it's just easier to have them come to me. One more thing I wanted to add is when I lived in that neighborhood, we were part of the homeowners, whatever. It's not an association, but you can buy in and be a part of the community pool. And that was great. We loved that. I coached soccer and I coached Little League baseball when my child was little. I had my practices out there in that neighborhood, in that vacant lot next to my home. No one ever complained about the traffic. We had practices 2 and 3 times a week. I also had swimming parties for all the members on those ball teams at that swimming pool, community swimming pool, which I was told that was okay. So all those people were in our neighborhood, and those were lots of little kids and lots of extra traffic. And I know that you can say that it was seasonal, but I did it all the seasons. I was always coaching or doing something. I had the hospital manager's Christmas party at my house in Miles Richardson. I had 40-something people in my house. I know that there's other people that have their Christmas parties in their home in that neighborhood. It's never been a problem until now, and I really don't know what happened. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Hello. So I'm Tiffany Nelson, and I just don't even know really where to start. This is really the first time that I've heard all of this together as a compilation of things. I've asked for a copy of that petition. If I could have a copy of it tonight, I would greatly appreciate it. I've reached out to a lot of these folks that are here from the neighborhood tonight, and no one will give me a copy of it. The only way that I knew that it existed is I had several, actually 14 neighborhood members contact me and say, hey, as well as 2 business owners that don't even live in our neighborhood, who said that someone from our neighborhood walked in and asked them to sign this petition today. I asked for a copy of that petition. Like I said, I've not gotten it. I don't know who signed it. I don't know what it says. No one has approached us as far as any complaints or even questions about what we're doing or what it is or anything of that nature. I would like to just take a minute here and read this for you guys. The actual code that talks about a home occupation. It says, a home occupation includes, but is not limited to, the following: an art studio, dressmaking, professional office of a physician, dentist, attorney, engineer, architect, building trade contractor, accountant, real estate or insurance agent, salesman or other similar occupation. Teaching with musical instruction limited to not more than 2 pupils at a time. However, a home occupation shall not be interpreted to include restaurants. The way that I interpret that is, a home occupation, the only thing that I see is excluded in that is a restaurant. I mean, like Ken said, so many of us are working from home right now. If you guys have seen any of our advertisement, any card, I know we pass those out to the city for their health fair. It says house calls. That's what we started this as. It's house calls. It's a hometown feel. It's all come to you. I know myself, with my husband as a professional and having 4 children of my own out there. I moved out there for my kids. I moved out there for them to have a nice place to live, a quiet place to live, and so I understand the safety, I understand the traffic, and that's very important to me as well. However, I know that having 4 children and my husband also being a professional, there's been numerous occasions since our hospital closed that one of my children would be sick when my 15-month-old twins were in the bed asleep. Guess what happens? I have to get all 4 of my children up and dressed and in the car and drive an hour to take them to the ER because urgent care closes at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. My husband's still at work. In order to alleviate some of that, this is not, I have three jobs full-time that I do for corporations, where I'm a W-2 employee, where I work that job and have for the last several years. That is my income. That's my primary source of income. This thing that I do out of my house, I don't even take insurance. This is strictly something that I do to cover my costs. This is not alleviating taxes. This is not getting out of paying for a business. This is a hometown. We live in a small town that we love dearly. And it's a service. It's a service of my heart and a goal that I've had since the moment I decided that this is the profession I wanted to be in. Okay. I will tell you, she mentioned the letter that I sent out to my neighbors. I did. Like I said, prior to being notified that there was any complaint against us, no one has said a single word to us. No one. We smile, we wave in the street, we say hello. Our children attend school with several of the neighbors' children. Lots of us out there have kids the same age and see each other frequently. It really saddens me and burdens me that no one felt it necessary to say something to me first, or to come down and say, what you got going down here? Lots of people said, hey, welcome to the neighborhood, we're glad you're here. But no one since then has come and said, what's going on? We're concerned about the traffic. What exactly is this? So after being made aware of that and consulting with our council member who lives in our neighborhood, I decided to send a note out with our Christmas cards. My children and I delivered Christmas cards on Sunday after church, and the letter that I included in there said, we've been made aware that some of our neighbors may be unhappy with us and have filed complaints with the city. While the city has assured us that we are not violating any laws or ordinances, we are truly burdened to know that any of you are upset with us. We are so thankful and happy to be here. We are looking forward to raising our children here, and we certainly do not wish to upset or offend anyone. We welcome you to kindly address any concerns that you may have with us so that we may have an opportunity to offer an acceptable solution. Please feel free to reach out or stop by at any time that is convenient for you. We look forward to hearing from you and assuring that our neighborhood continues to be a great place to live. This is the invitation that I gave to my neighbors, to my family, and I included my cell phone number on that. And like I said, I've heard from about 14 families that have called us. Several of them retired that live on the other end of Caitlin, that they have to pass their house every single time they come to mine. They're home all the time, and they have said, what is going on? We are so shocked to see this. What's going on? What are the complaints? And as I begin to explain what's going on, they go on to tell me they had no idea that anyone else had even moved in that house. Or they saw us outside with all of our kids, and they're so happy that we're here, and they sure haven't noticed any traffic at all. As Kim mentioned, there's a lot of days like today, 0. I'm out in my community. I'm out seeing nursing home patients. That's what I do. I have 28 nursing homes across 5 states. That's where I'm at the majority of my time. Like I said, we started with house calls, and that was the goal. Since COVID has hit, and since we are low on staff, I've desperately tried to hire somebody else full-time. I've interviewed 7, 8 people at this point to get help. And if we had another person to help us, we would go right back to, you know what, we bring the service to you. Because that's what it's about. It's about house calls. It's about meeting someone at their place of work because they have an earache and don't want to take a whole day off to drive to the doctor out of town for an earache. And that's the kind of service that we're trying to provide here. So that's the goal. As far as it being a hazard or anything like that, I have 6 cameras on the outside of my home. I went through today and counted the number of vehicles that we've had in our driveway. And I will tell you that you can count 3 cars that circle my house more times in one single day than the total number of cars that pull in my driveway in a single day. I mean, I can't, again, like they told you, we moved in this neighborhood for peace, for quiet, to raise our children in a great place to live. And I don't know anyone that wants to live in a neighborhood with people that you see on a daily basis coming and going, and your children grow up with, that you feel will not come tell you and there's something wrong or something that you're doing to bother them, but instead will circle your house more times in a single day than anyone who goes in. And you have a business there. I mean, I just can't even. Second of all, one of the things that we have done is limit our hours. You know, there's from about 8 to 3 o'clock, 3:30. Children are in school. Okay, I'm done after that. About 8:30, we might have a person or two that works come by. Especially if I'm home and my husband has a school board meeting or my husband's supervising a ball game. Yeah, I might have some folks come by. It's my friends and my family, very close personal friends with myself or my nurse, who are needing something. And that's the deal, is that we hear their complaints and we are really trying hard to listen to them and take those into account. Since my letter went out, we've heard from 3 neighbors who voiced their concerns. What we hear is that it's the traffic and it's people that normally aren't in our neighborhood that are coming out in our neighborhood. Again, we've already mentioned there's a community pool, there's pool parties, there's ball practices. Most of us probably know that Miles Richardson and Watson Addition are probably the most trick-or-treated neighborhoods in town. So it's not as if we are bringing out or showing some discovery of our home. Again, security is a thing for me that I have, cameras around our house or on the perimeter of our house, mainly for our children, because I allow my kids to play outside without us out there. When I'm inside taking care of the babies or I'm cooking dinner, I can see my children and I know that they're safe outside. So there's lots of, but the other thing is, in our neighborhood, the golf carts. There's been a rule that's very clear and very recent that no children should be out driving anything motorized. Well, there's regularly, on any given day, children on their golf carts, ranging from, I'd say 10 years old to 12 years old, by themselves, with other kids hanging off the back of it. No one says anything about that. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? The other thing is that there's other businesses in town. So at what point do we decide this business is okay because they have 8 cars a week? This business is not, because they only have 2. I have 4-car garage. I have a driveway. There's not been any parking on the street that I'm aware of. If there were, I would gladly go tell them, please pull in the driveway. And there's also an exit through the alley for which they don't have to turn around in anybody's driveway or anybody's yard. I'm not aware of any truck delivering supplies. I don't have any kind of X-ray or any kind of equipment or anything like that. I've never ordered supplies of that nature whatsoever. Like I said, I didn't really have anything prepared because I was totally in the dark as far as what the complaints actually were. But as far as I know, that's about all that I had on there. Other than the fact that according to our city ordinances, you know, it's everybody's right to have a business, right? And I understand that the city benefits more probably from me going downtown and renting a building, right? But the city is also benefiting from the fact that I'm available, you know, that I'm providing a service to any of you guys that if you were to wake up with a cold or you go home tonight, you cut your finger, you go home at lunch, make a sandwich, you cut your finger open, for me to meet you and take care of it and you go back to work for the rest of the day. That's the kind of thing that we're looking at. But at the end of the day, regardless of where we live, if that's the city ordinance, then I would say that everybody probably has a choice. What about the numerous daycares that are in homes? What about the numerous salons that are in homes? What about those making t-shirts in their homes? There's lots and lots of different types of business around here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Can I have a copy of that petition, by the way?
You can have
Is
this.
there an extra copy?
John, we have that.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Chris Sledge. I live at 1805 Allison. I want to start by saying this, just because I respect the Nelson family as being hard workers. They love their family like I love mine. There's a lot of people in here I like, but I don't love any of you like I love my kids. I'm here as a parent, period. It's nothing personal, the Nelsons, and I want y'all to know that. I mean that. It could be you or you're. It gets down to me, I'm not gonna be distracted and get off tangent. It gets down to, you know, do you want a commercial property in your neighborhood? And if given the choice, mine would be no. Traffic is a concern. I'm not gonna act like it's the city of Houston through there right now, but it's more than it was, and it's like anything else, it's not where it's at, it's where we're going. You know, hopefully for Tiffany's sake, anybody that knows me, I love seeing people do good. I really do. I mean, I'm not a hater. I like seeing people successful, and especially people that work for it. I just don't want it done in my neighborhood. Simple as that. You know, I come from, and I don't want to bring up negative things, but I came from a place that, you know, there were kids, two kids tragically killed, you know, an accident, and it could happen to anybody. You know, I was talking to my neighbor yesterday. I mean, we're neighbors. It could happen, you know, with any of us, but it's, to me, ultimately, it's about the things that we can control, you know, and I'm asking on behalf of the city, you know, like I said, I couldn't say it any more than I'm here as a parent. Simple as that. Simple as that. You know, the great thing about my neighborhood is it is a peaceful place. You know, you see kids riding around on bikes doing things, and that's why I bought into that neighborhood. I don't want to worry about when my kid goes around the curve towards the Nelsons or anybody's on that and worry about excess traffic and my kid getting hit. You know, that's something you worry about as a parent, and there's been a lot of parents in here, and if I can control that on behalf of my kid and my kids, then I'm going to do everything I can within my power to do it, because I'd never forgive myself if something did happen to my kid, and when I didn't step up of what my convictions were in my heart. I know these aren't easy decisions. I don't think the Nelson's intent was to hurt anybody's feelings or to hurt the neighborhood. You know, we all feel how we feel. The one thing, you know, and I don't want to call anybody a liar because I could be wrong. I would be surprised if there's 14 families that have reached out to her, because we pretty much got signatures from 85% of the neighborhood, and you give me 15 minutes and I feel like I can go gather the other 10 to 15% if that's what it called for. It's really as simple as, if we're all being honest, we're adults here. Nobody, if given the choice or given the opportunity, would want a business next to their house. It's not about and I don't think anybody's here, you know, Miles Richardson's in a nice neighborhood, but I don't care if they're trailers out there, one-story houses. I'm not I want my neighborhood to look nicer than everybody else. It's not about that for me. It's about the safety of our children and the investment I made in there for that reason. I do have a brother-in-law who I'll also let the Nelsons know it, and I hate it. I don't like being here. I hate drama. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to affect anybody's livelihood. But I'm going to stick up for those that I love and speak from the heart. And, you know, my brother-in-law happens to live next to the Nelsons. And, you know, just little things that might not carry weight with you or might not factor into a city code or restriction, but you know, you come home at 5, you know, barbecue on the grill, and you don't want any awkward ways for customers or whatever coming out, you know, you just the peace we all seek when you get home for a residence, I just feel is at risk. And like I say, I'm not a vengeful person. I genuinely want to see, I hope Tiffany's business thrives. I'll give her references, but I ain't gonna do it as long as it's in my neighborhood. You know, I just don't, it's as simple as, and I don't wanna ramble, I don't want a business in my neighborhood because of the traffic concern it has for my kids. And the business is gonna grow, I hope it does for her. I don't want it to grow in my neighborhood, but it's just, there's a fine line there that it's a danger zone that I feel that we're gonna cross by you allowing it to happen. If indeed, within the ordinance, if there are restrictions, that she don't meet that requirement, or her business, like I said, I don't wanna make it personal, if her business doesn't meet that requirement, the traffic, or maybe a nuisance to some of the neighbors, you know, I live right next to it, you know, some of the things we talked about, if it don't fit, I would ask the council to rule in favor of Miles Richardson, and on behalf of Kennett. I've told people, I don't wanna make this a Miles Richardson, my neighbor's thing. I'm talking for the city of Kennett, what's best for the city of Kennett. I don't want this, we're here on behalf of Miles Richardson, but this is a city issue in my opinion. And if the business, and I apologize, I don't want to single out, I would just ask that you look closely into what we're saying. There's an overwhelming majority there, and there could be more if that gets your eye, but you know, and they may not be aware of this, but there's probably 90% of the neighborhood that is against it. And I would just ask that you take what we're saying. You know, if somebody tells me something, I won't believe them a lot of times, might depend on the person, but if you're hearing all these concerns, I would just ask that you would take note of that. I'm asking for you as a parent on behalf of my kids who mean the world to me. And just look, because in my opinion, based on what I know and where this thing is going, she's not gonna meet the requirements listed on that ordinance to run a home occupation out of her location. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Can I just make one statement? On this petition, now that I'm seeing it, it looks like there's 28 signatures. If I've done the right math, I think there's 69 residents in our neighborhood if you just count that first loop there. So that's about 40% of the people that signed this. And a couple of the people that signed this called me and apologized personally. And I have an audio recording of all of those conversations as well as the written text messages from the others. Who stated that they were approached with a petition that said, hey, what if your kid gets killed? If your kid gets killed by this traffic, by this. And I would also